What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bulls Latest. I want to first give a shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. I've got a great Tuesday show on the docket for you guys today. But first, guys, scan that QR code at the top of the page. Take advantage of $75 in bonus entries after playing just your first $5 today. All you got to do is scan that QR code to get started. We're a few days away from NBA action kicking back off. We're going to enter the stretch run, guys. A lot of great basketball ahead, a lot of great markets to take advantage of on Underdog. I want to kind of transition here, starting with what did we learn from the All-Star game and All-Star weekend, guys. There was a lot of great things to come out of this year's All-Star game. It really, I think, put the event back on the map in terms of competitiveness. There are a few guys that we really need to thank for doing so and really pushing the needle forward for this event. This has gotten a lot of criticism in the previous years, guys, in terms of the effort that these players are putting out and just the event in a full, not being as exciting as it once was. But in specific, looking at that game following Scottie Barnes' game-winning three in overtime of that first game, Victor Wembanyama was visibly frustrated. He was seen kind of talking to himself because he missed an assignment there. This was something that's not taken lightly. Even though Wemby didn't win Sunday night's MVP, he definitely, I think, in my eyes, was deserving of this. Even Anthony Edwards admitted in his post-game press conference following receiving the MVP award that Wemby's massive presence motivated him, and this is Anthony Edwards speaking on this, to show up out of fear of being shown up. I think that Anthony Edwards is a guy who takes a lot of pride in his game. And once he kind of saw Wemby flip that switch, he didn't want to get shown up by Wemby, a younger guy and a guy who, could have kind of taken the throne in this event. That's what I love to see, is the competitiveness in an event like this. But looking at Anthony Edwards' game as well, guys, he rose to the occasion. Even in the game his team lost to Team Stripes there throughout the night, Anthony Edwards' energy also carried his team, especially in the championship when the older players on Team Stripes started to tire. He kind of took over, and you can kind of see even when he won the MVP, he was shocked to hear his name called there. It speaks to just the competitive edge that you saw in this game, and I think it's certainly a plus for the league. Kind of flipping into the second topic today, guys, not only did the All-Star game kind of help take away from this being at the forefront, because it really has been, guys, especially in recent weeks here, but tanking is an issue that Adam Silver spoke to, you have to ask, did the comments on taking spell draft changes for this league? And in one of Silver's most impactful interview sessions, the commissioner did discuss expansion and then possibly relocation of some teams. The biggest buzz, though, surrounded the tanking issue, guys. And this is where I think it was cool that the All-Star festivities kind of took away from this and shined some light on the actual performances by these players. They put out an All-Star weekend, guys, and it was fun to watch. Tanking, though, has been a prominent issue and something that's been talked about in this league for a long, long time. You have to ask the question, could the league flatten the lottery odds even further? What about, abolishing the draft altogether and kind of letting players select their own teams? These are all things that are kind of thrown in a pool of questions, but so far the latter talking point has not come up in meetings with the competition committee. The idea of lottery-bound teams competing in a tournament also really hasn't gained much traction. I think personally that would be kind of an interesting caveat there. If you have teams competing in a tournament, for or kind of tied to the lottery in some way, that'd be interesting. I don't quite know if that's ever going to gain enough steam to take place in our league, though. Eliminating the draft is still very far from the league's plans, no doubt about it. But they're trying. They're trying to figure out ways to kind of nip this thing and put tanking away altogether. They'd have to clear many, many major hurdles, though, including getting any draft changes collectively bargained, which we know what kind of process that is for any league. The collective bargaining agreement is something that it's a process, guys. So but it can't be taken lightly to see that the Utah Jazz, I mean, they're the latest team under fire here, took on a $500,000 fine, which for these teams and these organizations is kind of seen as chump change, but that's a big fine, guys, that's given out to a team. It kind of shows the significance of this issue. And I think ultimately heavier fines and teams losing draft picks should be considered if the tactics become so blatant in terms of trying to tank there. I think you got to put it on the table. You got to put fear into these teams for wanting to even think about tanking, guys. Losing draft picks could be a major problem for trying to build. I mean, look at the Bulls, for example. If the Bulls were caught or seen as a team that is actively trying to tank, and then they put into and implemented a system where they take draft picks, that would devastate this organization right now, guys, because, I mean, look at all the second-round picks they got at this trade deadline. Just for an example there and kind of how that would feel to an organization, I think the fines are one thing, but losing draft picks would really shatter any shot that a team has to kind of rebuild on a timeline that they have put in place. It's also kind of been talked about that the lottery odds, could be set earlier in the season instead of after that 82-game schedule, guys. That's an interesting note there, because when you do that, I think it kind of takes away from teams being able to set themselves up to tank for the highest pick that they can get. Putting it in early in the season would definitely kind of change the landscape of all of that. Most importantly, though, I think fine amounts, being discussed for teams that blatantly skirt the rules needs to be, put into place immediately. I think the fine amounts is something that the league can implement and kind of hammer these teams with, at least in the near future as they go into this. So certainly going to be interesting to see how that kind of works out. I think the fines are going to continue to stack up for these teams who don't abide by, competitive, the right competitive advantages, I should say. So anyway, wanted to jump into the underdog segment today, guys. Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back. Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action, guys. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get your picks right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash, guys. This week on Underdog, I know we looked at that Bulls-Raptors game already on yesterday's show. I'm going to pick another game on Thursday's slate, going to pick a number of games. It probably one tomorrow, too, on Thursday's slate when the action gets back underway. The Rockets-Hornets matchup is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at LaMelo Ball higher than 20.5 points, and I'm also going to go Kevin Durant higher than 24.5 points here, guys. This is a matchup that is going to have a lot of fireworks here. I think that you're going to have a good opportunity to score on some of these props on Underdog Fantasy here and these markets in particular in this game here. I think it's going to be an exciting one. Use promo code BasketballFan, guys, again, to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code BasketballFan there.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-878 or text from 467-369.
All right, guys, jumping back into the last couple segments here to cap off this Tuesday show. I wanted to shed a little light to Damian Lillard, guys. I mean, this is a guy who brought a light to All-Star Weekend. It's really a cool story, and it really was awesome to see Dame compete in and win the three-point contest after being out out this entire year with that Achilles tear he suffered in the first round of the playoffs last year. He did outlast Devin Booker and Con Knippel to grab his third three-point contest crown. Dame spoke to this opportunity that came about, and it really was a cool one in terms of how it just kind of molded itself into this All-Star Weekend. He said, quote, something opened up. I said I'd do it, and the next day I was in the competition, Dame said. It really kind of spoke to how fast it moved for him to get this opportunity. He still can't sprint or do any serious on-court work right now, but he certainly can still let it fly from beyond the arc, and we saw that. He's still got that shot, guys. guys. I mean, Damian Lillard is one of the best to ever do it, and he certainly showed out in the three-point competition. I thought that was a very, very cool to see. Unlike Celtics star Jason Tatum, who is currently working his way back in team scrimmages for a kind of a playoff run there, Damian Lillard he's not angling to get on the floor to help a contender for the stretch run of basketball here. So it was a perfect opportunity for him to get involved and for to keep things light for him. It's never easy to come back and rehab from an injury like that. It certainly can test your mental for any athlete of any stature there. So it certainly was cool to see him get that opportunity. There was some other cool news out of the three-point competition as well. I didn't shed light to it on Monday's show, but Steph Curry announced that he's entering next year's competition in Phoenix and said he's also going to try and get former teammate Klay Thompson to join him. We don't know how many years Steph has left, guys. So for him to make this announcement and that he's going to participate in the three-point contest in next year's All-Star festivities is certainly something to look forward to. It's the best shooter of all time, guys. So you see him get an opportunity to perform in front of, league-wide circles there in the All-Star festivities. That's certainly going to be something to look forward to. As an NBA fan, I know I'm certainly going to be excited to watch him next year at the All-Star game in Phoenix and the three-point contest as well, guys. So kind of wrapping up, and I wanted to shed some light to this guy as well, guys. Matas Buzelis, unbelievable what he's done in year two to take the leap that he has. Kind of recapping his performance in the Rising Stars game for the second straight year he competed in this contest, put up a total of 10 points in the Rising Stars game this year. He had 6 in the semifinal round and then 4 points in the final. He also had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal to go along with that, and that was all a part of Vince Carter's Team Vince. It was Vince Carter 25-24 win in the championship there. This is a bright spot for a Bulls team, and above all, as a Bulls fan and an avid follower of this organization, Matas has been a constant bright spot for this team this year, and it can't be overlooked. The jump he's taken from year one to year two, he's turning into a profound leader of this team as well, and that's something that I love to see. The leap he's taken, I can't emphasize it enough, from year one to year two is something that you should be excited about, guys. Even though the Bulls didn't have any All-Stars participate in the competition on Sunday night, having Matas represent this ball club at the festivities was certainly awesome for a team that is so uncertain right now in terms of their future. Matas' future looks bright, so that's certainly exciting. Cannot wait to see what he continues to do for this club post All-Star break and the rest of the season. So that's going to wrap up today's show, guys. Again, I want to thank Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. I want to thank you guys for your constant support of this show. Scan that QR code, guys. It's not too late to get in on all the action ahead of Thursday's NBA slate, kicking things back off after the All-Star weekend. All you got to do is scan that QR code to join today. Thanks again, guys. We will see you next time.